Russia sent an ultimatum to Britain, warning about nuclear exercises. Russia announced that it considers the Western F-16 provided to Ukraine to be a nuclear-capable weapon. Kyiv is determined to maintain the integration of forces on the front line. Russia sent an ultimatum to Britain, warning about nuclear exercises. Moscow warned it would retaliate against British targets in Ukraine or elsewhere if Kyiv used missiles supplied by London to attack Russian territory. British Ambassador to Russia Nigel Casey was summoned to the Russian Foreign Ministry this week after British Foreign Secretary David Cameron's statement to Reuters that Ukraine has the right to use long-range missiles sent by Britain to attack deep into its territory. Russia. Mr. Casey has been warned that, if Ukraine uses British weapons to attack Russian territory, Russia may retaliate against any British military installations and equipment in Ukraine and beyond. Anymore, the Russian Foreign Ministry announced. According to the Russian Foreign Ministry, the British Foreign Secretary's statements in fact show that his country is a party to the conflict. The Russian Foreign Ministry added that Russia understood Foreign Minister Cameron's comments as evidence of a serious escalation and confirmation of London's growing participation in military operations on the Kyiv side. The Russian Foreign Ministry called on the British ambassador to think about the inevitable catastrophic consequences of such hostile steps by London, and immediately unequivocally and most clearly refute the statements, provocation by the head of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Exercises under the orders of the President of Russia. The Russian Ministry of Defense announced on May 6 an upcoming exercise to test the ability to deploy non-strategic nuclear weapons. The Russian Defense Ministry said the exercise was ordered by President Vladimir Putin after provocative and threatening statements by Western officials. Deputy Chairman of the Russian Security Council Dmitry Medvedev said that debates in the West about the possibility of deploying NATO troops to Ukraine, as well as the West actively encouraging Kyiv to use missiles provided by the West to attack the entire territory of Russia, is the reason Moscow conducts tactical nuclear exercises. The former Russian president warned that Moscow will have to respond to the proposal to deploy Western soldiers to Ukraine. Mr. Medvedev stated that this response will not only happen in Ukraine, but in that case, there will be no refuge left in Capitol Hill, the Élysée Palace or 10 Downing Street. According to Mr. Medvedev, the current situation can be compared to the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962. He believes that Western elites do not see the risks of the current escalation of tensions. French President Emmanuel Macron has advocated strategic ambiguity regarding Ukraine, asserting that he cannot rule out deploying troops to Ukraine under certain conditions. Many Western leaders said they had no intention of sending soldiers to fight Russia on behalf of Ukraine, after Mr. Macron voiced his idea in February. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that President Macron's statement may stem from his ambition to make France a leading country among EU members. British Foreign Secretary David Cameron told Reuters last week that Kyiv has the right to use British-supplied missiles to strike targets deep inside Russian territory. Meanwhile, Democratic leader in the U.S. House of Representatives Hakeem Jeffries did not rule out the possibility that the U.S. would be forced to send troops to the Ukrainian war zone if Kyiv is defeated by Russia. Russia announced that it considers the Western F-16 provided to Ukraine to be a nuclear-capable weapon. Moscow said it would consider the F-16 aircraft that Kyiv is about to receive as a nuclear threat, calling the West's transfer of them a provocative act. It is impossible to ignore the fact that these aircraft are dual-use platforms, which can be used for both nuclear and non-nuclear missions, the Russian Foreign Ministry said on May 6, referring to the fighter F-16 that the West is about to supply to Ukraine. Regardless of the configuration in which this aircraft is delivered, we will consider it a nuclear-capable weapon and consider evaluating this move by the US and NATO as a deliberate provocation. The Russian Foreign Ministry also warned that Kyiv and Western countries are pushing the conflict in Ukraine to the point of no return. Kyiv and its Western sponsors should be aware that their reckless moves are bringing the situation closer to reaching critical mass and exploding, the agency warned. Critical mass is the term for the minimum amount of fissile material needed to sustain a nuclear chain reaction. The F-16 multi-role fighter was developed by the U.S. in the 1970s and costs about $30 to $35 million USD, depending on the variant. The F-16 can reach a maximum speed of 2,121 km per hour at an altitude of 12,000 m, a maximum flight ceiling of 18,000 m with a range of 546 km. It is equipped with a 6-barrel 20mm gun, 11 pylons that can carry 7.7 tons of weapons, including B-61 or B-63 nuclear bombs. However, Ukraine does not possess nuclear weapons, and there is no information that Kiev's allies will transfer these weapons to this country. According to Russian nuclear doctrine, Moscow can use nuclear weapons if it is attacked by an atomic weapon or faces an attack with conventional weapons that threatens the existence of the nation. Ukrainian Air Force Commander Ilya Yevlash said last week that the country plans to receive the first batch of F-16s after May 5, but did not give a specific time. Some Western countries such as Denmark, the Netherlands, Norway, and Belgium previously pledged to transfer this weaponry to Kiev. The F-16 fighter is expected to be a necessary upgrade for Ukraine's aging air force, which mainly consists of aircraft manufactured during the Soviet era and has suffered serious losses after more than 2 years of war. Kiev is determined to maintain the integration of forces on the front line. Ukraine will try to hold the front line until the second half of 2024, when the country can receive F-16 fighter jets as well as ammunition from the West, according to Bloomberg. Bloomberg's military observer said that Ukraine's strategy is to try to hold the front line until the second half of this year, when the country can receive F-16 fighter jets. In addition, at that time, Western artillery shell manufacturers may also have plans to increase weapons resources for Ukraine. This would allow Kiev to plan a new counteroffensive that could take place in 2025. According to the article, Ukrainian officials fear that if the country's allies do not increase ammunition supplies, Russia's offensive will gain significant momentum this summer. It should be noted that, in an interview with CNN on February 27, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky admitted a serious shortage of ammunition and military equipment resources necessary to maintain the ability to fight against the army. Russia, threatening the combat effectiveness of Ukrainian forces under current conditions. Kiev has long been looking forward to the F-16 from Western countries. The first specific timeline for the appearance of the F-16 fighter is June 2024. Previously, on February 22, Danish Defence Minister Troels Lund Poulsen also announced that the country plans to deliver the first F-16 fighter jet to Ukraine this summer. The F-16 is a fourth-generation multi-role light fighter aircraft manufactured by Lockheed Martin Corporation. The aircraft is designed to be able to perform missions of bombing ground targets and intercepting air targets. The F-16 is equipped with a Pratt & Whitney F100 PW200 turbojet engine, maximum thrust of 106 knots with afterburner. This engine helps the F-16 reach a maximum speed of Mach 2, equivalent to 2,400 km per hour, with a flight range of about 4,200 km. This fighter is equipped with 11 pylons to carry weapons of all kinds such as air-to-air missiles, air-to-ground missiles, and many types of smart guided bombs.